All right, so obviously there have been two big signings for the Dodgers here recently. Tanner Scott going to the Dodgers, Roki Sasaki signing with the Dodgers, and there's two Padres connections there. Tanner Scott, former Padre, dominated in the postseason, was really good all season long, even going back to the Miami Marlins. And I already knew, Padres fans, we already knew that we were going to be losing Tanner Scott, but it sucks that he went to the Dodgers. Roki Sasaki, maybe we should have known that he was going to go to the Dodgers this entire time, but there were reports about the Padres being a finalist, which obviously they were. I think that's pretty clear. He was throwing at Petco Park in Padres gear. And now when you think about it, it's almost like, well, he was just using the Padres to stay on his throwing schedule. And he was going to the Dodgers this entire time when he talks about the stability of the front office, um, and just, being able to play with Yamamoto and Otani. And if you want to be in the postseason every year, as much as I love the Padres, the Dodgers have a better track record of doing that. Um, and if he doesn't want the pressure of having to be relied upon as a starter, every time out the entire season right out of the gate, then it makes more sense for him to go to the Dodgers than it does the Padres. Um, but which one hurts more? Because Roki hurts. I can talk about why both hurt. Tanner Scott hurts because he's going to the NL West rival, but that doesn't hurt in the way that Roki does, because with Roki, we thought, hey, he's throwing in Padres gear financially, right? He's not going to cost $300+ million. There's an opportunity to sign him. He fits. Starting pitcher. I mean, it would be great to land Roki Sasaki. With Tanner Scott, we never even thought that was going to happen because we knew it wasn't going to happen. It was with Josh Hader. Now, I don't have the same thoughts towards Tanner Scott as I did with Josh Hader. I was fine with Josh Hader not coming back. With Tanner Scott, I would have loved to have Tanner Scott back, but financially, that just wasn't going to happen. So maybe some would say, like, Roki Sasaki is going to hurt more because he's not pitching for us. But I would say Tanner Scott's going to hurt more when we're playing the Dodgers. Like, if the Padres match up with the Dodgers in the postseason, who is going to hurt us more, Roki or Tanner Scott? Definitely for 2025, it's Tanner Scott. Roki Sasaki, he's going to pitch one game, maybe a couple in the series. But right now, where does he even sit in that starting rotation? First year coming over in the big leagues. I know Yamamoto is starting postseason games for them, but it could be a bumpy road for Sasaki. Who knows? Not a guarantee that he's going to be great. And then even if he is, there's other options there, like Tyler Glasnow if he can stay healthy, with Blake Snell there, with Yamamoto. Otani, they're going to want to throw in a postseason game if he's healthy, right? There's other guys. So it's not a guarantee that Sasaki is going to, dominate the Padres in multiple games in a series, especially if it's a 5-game best of 5. With Tanner Scott, and I can just use the example with when he was pitching with the Padres this past season and how dominant he was against the Dodgers and how many times he pitched in the postseason for the Padres. If he does that for the Dodgers against us, that's a problem, because that guy is really, really nasty, and he has never given up a run in the postseason. I know he only had one game of postseason experience with the Marlins, but he had 5 games with the Padres appearing in, and he didn't give up any runs. He struck out 8 guys. He didn't walk any guys in the last 3 appearances against the Dodgers there in game 2, game 3, and game 5. In the postseason total, 5 and a third, which isn't a big sample size, I get it, but 5 and a third, no earned runs allowed. We know how nasty he is. Shohei Otani does not look uncomfortable very much in the batter's box, right? But he was uncomfortable. He looked uncomfortable. He looked like he didn't want to be there when Tanner Scott was on the mound. So when you have a dominant reliever like that on the Dodgers and you take him away from you, and he's more of a guarantee than Roki Sasaki is. So for him to come in a best of 5 against the Padres and pitch, 4 out of the 5 games or whatever, this is a guy that posts, and he's willing to take on any role. We saw that with the Padres, and it seems like he's willing to do that with the Dodgers. He's not saying, oh, I have to be the closer. I'm only pitching 1 inning. He pitched more than an inning in that wild card game 2 against the Braves. So when you put that on that team with all the talent they already have, yeah, for me, Tanner Scott's going to hurt more when it comes to facing the Dodgers in 2025. Now, what hurts more of not having them on the Padres? Like realistically, it's probably Roki because again, realistically, Tanner was never going to come back. But Roki, he was at least a possibility. We were one of the finalists, right? And financially, it worked. And we're still looking for rotation pieces right now. And if we would have added Roki, then now you have a rotation of 4 starters, and then we'll see what happens with the 5th. Or maybe you add another starter, and then you can have the Walden Vasquez, those guys fight for a 6th spot. Because with Roki, you probably want to have a 6-man rotation. But yeah, like if they would have got Roki, you would have, let's say they keep Dylan Cease. He is being mentioned, by the way, in trade talks with the Minnesota Twins. Christian Vasquez may be coming to the Padres. There was an article written about that. Nothing is imminent, according to Dennis Lin. And apologies, but whoever the Twins athletic writer is, nothing that is happening. But it seems like discussions have happened, and both sides may be motivated for those discussions to continue. So we shall see there. But Vasquez is scheduled to make like $10 million this next year. And do the Padres want to take that on? Because they would be saving, if the Twins take on all of Dylan Cease and the Padres take on all of Vasquez, then the Padres are only saving like what, $3 million, $4 million, I think, for this year. Is that enough to bring in Christian Vasquez? Why didn't you just go sign Higgy back, you know? But anyway, Cease, Darvish, King, Sasaki, and then you would see what the options were, right? So he would hurt. He's going to hurt not being on the Padres more, again, about like realistically. But who's going to hurt the Padres more on the Dodgers? I think that's Tanner Scott. I think he's the one that's more to be worried about, if that makes sense. But give me your thoughts in the comments. Roki could end up dominating the Padres. I'm not saying that he's not going to, but there could be an adjustment period, and Tanner Scott is more of a sure thing than Roki Sasaki is. And he's someone, especially in the postseason, obviously, what matters the most, he is the guy that can hurt you almost maybe every game of a series. Roki's not going to do that. So that's what I've got here today in this video. Thank you for watching. Give me your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see if the Padres can actually make a major league move here soon. It's January 23rd now, and still nothing. Mike Schilt, remember, on Foul Territory, talking about how AJ Preller has, things up his sleeves, up his arms, up his pants, and that was months ago. And now we're sitting here, and not much has happened.